What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Falling Asleep on the Airport Floor. As always, I am your host, Zach Cronin, and today we're going to be looking sort of a blind reaction of Bleacher Report's top 100 players for the 2023-2024 NBA season. I am a few weeks late to this piece of content. This released on August 31st. It is now September 19th. It's been a couple weeks, and I have seen nothing related to this on social media. The only bit of it that I had seen prior to today was this morning, actually the morning that I was recording this, where I double checked just to make sure that Nikola Jokic was ranked number one. Kind of cheating a little bit, but any list, I feel any preseason list that doesn't have Nikola Jokic ranked number one doesn't really need to be taken seriously. And I understand that you can make a case for Giannis, you could make a case for Joel Embiid as well, but Nikola Jokic is the best player on the best team in the NBA. Had an incredible regular season, an even better postseason run. He deserves to be number one on any preseason list. I double checked that, so we are good as far as that goes. Now, I've talked about this at length. I'm not a fan of compiling my own top player lists because really you're not going to make anybody happy once you get outside of like the top 15. And then I feel like once you get outside of the top 20, the drop off in talent becomes less and less. Like it's far more egregious to have a player who should be like 35th in the top 20 than it is for like the 35th best player to be ranked 45th. There really isn't that much gap because a lot of the later rankings are done based on the player's like limited ability to be impactful in a certain area, and that becomes increasingly more hard to grade the deeper you get into the list. But without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get into this. If you've been on the BR app this past week, you've seen our top 30 guards, wings, and bigs prediction for the 23-24 NBA season. If you're here with us now, you've officially made it to the grand finale. We're revealing our top 100 NBA player predictions for the season after a vast voting process. How did we do it? Scroll ahead for a quick look at our method. BR asked its best basketball minds to answer a series of random player A versus player B debates. The question for each debate: which player will rank higher by the end of the 2023-24 season? In total, we compiled more than 8,600 votes across nearly 20 participants, narrowing our final player pool down to a top 110. From there, a panel of experts each ranked every player from 1 to 110. They used their own criteria, considering everything from individual production, impact on winning during both the regular season and playoffs, and also health availability. All rankings were compiled and averaged, and then voila, the BR NBA 100 was a set with a list of 10 difficult cuts as honorable mentions. Only thing left to do was separate players by today's comments, positions, guards, wings, and bigs. I will say, I don't know anything about this list yet. This seems to be a very interesting methodology. I don't think I've ever seen a list that starts out as player A versus player B debates. That's a fascinating way to whittle down the player pool, which kind of makes sense because you're just comparing one guy to one guy as opposed to comparing one guy to a whole pool of players. But beyond that, your methodology is pretty pretty regular. How well is this player going to do? What is their injury history like? Do we expect them to be healthy? And then obviously their impact on winning, which as you get farther down to the list into the top 20 is going to be significantly higher than like when you're inside the first 80 picks. Nic Claxton at 96, I'm unsure how I feel about it because he is very underrated as an all-around big defense, rebounding. Can't really create his own shot quite yet in the post, but he has improved markedly since he came into the season. I would probably, and of course, this is probably a little biased, I'm putting Nic Claxton probably in the top 80, maybe inside the top 75. But again, a lot of that is boosted by his prowess on defense. Again, I might be a little biased, but I felt that he deserved to be Defensive Player of the Year over Jaren Jackson or John Collins. John Collins is definitely not as good as he used to be. How much of that, again, is the result of the Hawk system? I don't have an issue with him being on the top 100, and I feel that being towards the bottom is more fitting. Again, just based off of the performance that he's had over the last couple of years. Like once was a 19 and 10 guy, is now barely averaging 13 and 6 and down 33 spots from the previous year. RJ Barrett at 91. I think that this is far too low for RJ Barrett to be ranked. I think he deserves to be in the top 70. Maybe that'll change once I see who else is on this list, but RJ Barrett is a very good offensive player in, I want to say, an improved facilitator, but not really. Hasn't lived up to how he was able to produce at Duke. I do see why he was ranked a little bit lower. Again, the defense has not been great from him early in his career. His perimeter shooting is bad all around, just a very inefficient offensive player, but still, guy can give you 18, 19, 20 a night. To be only 2 spots ahead of John Collins is very peculiar. The reasoning here is lack of scoring efficiency has been a major problem for RJ throughout his career, but it still feels like there's untapped point forward potential there, which I agree. I think that RJ Barrett could be a very useful playmaker for the New York Knicks if they figure out how to harness that potential. With his size, he can see the floor fairly well, and when he really utilizes that advantage, the Knicks generally win. For his career, they're 19 and 13 when he totals 20 points and 5 assists, which I don't think is that far. It's not far out of his reach. I think really the Knicks just they need to provide him an outlet to playmake, really, be a secondary playmaker outside of Jalen Brunson. 88, Bruce Brown. I don't think Denver wins the championship without Bruce Brown. I do, however, feel that he is relatively appropriately ranked. Here is not a guy who stands out in any particular quantitative analysis, but is a definite glue guy, is a hustle guy, attacks the offensive boards. For his career averages 1.1 offensive boards per game, which seems to be a decent amount for a dude who is maybe 6'4". Again, provides fantastic energy on defense. I love Bruce Brown for all that he gave during his time with the Nets. 87, Robert Williams III. Again, one of the marquee defensive players who I think lands down here because, well, he just does not stay healthy, or was not healthy last season. Again, played only 35 games, but in those 35 games, averaged 8 points, 8.3 rebounds, shot 75% from the field, which probably would have led the league had he qualified for that leaderboard, was among the best defensive players in the league once again. However, his lack of availability makes this ranking fair. Time Lord has missed 131 games the last 4 seasons. Walker Kessler, future Defensive Player of the Year. I did a video on him a few months back. Outstanding defensive player, terrific shot blocker. Will probably be a top 50 player within a few years, and certainly among the best at the center position. However, 86 just feels right. So far, I don't have anything too negative to say about this list, outside of the fact that maybe RJ and Nic Claxton are ranked a little bit too low. But again, going from 96 and 91, I think it was, to the top 70 isn't really that big of a leap. Scoot Henderson, 83, hasn't even played a game yet, cracks the top 80. Very interesting decision here whenever you rank a rookie whenever you rank a rookie higher than people who are already in the NBA, because comparatively, these rookies are not better than any dude who's in the NBA. However, I don't think this is going to be fairly common throughout this list, especially considering that Scoot has already gone up against G League level talent. This guy is the number 2 overall pick, number 3 overall pick, I can't remember, but has potential to be an all-star caliber guy. This could very well end up being maybe a horrible ranking if Scoot does have an underwhelming rookie campaign. Highly unlikely, but still possible. Although, again, less possible because he's already played against professional caliber opponent. Nikola Vucevic at 81 might be a terrible ranking. I think Vuce is a top 60, top 55 player in this league, as evidenced by his ranking from last year, down 15. Nikola Vucevic was one of only 5 players to average at least 17 points and 11 rebounds this season. So why is he ranked outside the top 80? He gives it all back by being a sieve on defense, ranking in the 19th percentile in dunks and threes defensive EPM. I don't think this is really fair because Vuce has historically always been a terrible defender. This guy has never been good on defense. And also, his numbers are literally, oh my God, this guy posted no fucking, dude, Vooch posted literally the exact same numbers from this year and last year. 17.6 points, 11 boards and 3.2 assists. He was actually 5 percentage points better in efficiency and shot damn near 35% from 3. This is a terrible ranking right here. There is no way that Vooch deserves to be 81st on this list. I don't care how bad he is on defense. You can't take a guy who literally had the exact same year and drop him 15 spots. Maybe I'm being a little premature. Oh my God, they put Jalen Green over Vooch, bro. Bro, come on, man. They put I know it's only one spot, so it's not really that much, but Jalen Green is inefficient, is a turnover machine, cannot shoot from the three, is a horrible decision maker. All of these are working against him. Also is a dog shit defender. Granted, he's still very young, so I'm not saying that he won't improve on any of these, but how are you going to rank him over Vooch when really the only negative that Vooch has is that he's terrible on defense? Oh my God, we're getting goofy already. We're not even 80 people. We're not even 20 guys into this list. It's already getting goofy. Kyle Kuzma, 77. Kuz is coming off the best season of his career, launched himself 13 spots off this list. I think this is fair. Kuz is probably a top 80, top 75 player in this league. Is he better than Nikola Vucevic, though? Is he 13 spots better, or is he 13? Is he 4 spots better than Nikola Vucevic? Something that I do not think. I do not believe that Kyle Kuzma is this much better than Nikola Vucevic. Jordan Poole down 20 spots. Jordan Poole was once a top 50 player, damn near a top 50 player in the NBA. I think just really just struggled overall last year. It was a very difficult season for everybody on the Warriors not named Stephen Curry. If all you watched from last season was the playoffs, you'd be shocked to see Poole anywhere near a top 100 list. This is true, let alone the top 80. He averaged just 10 points on 34% shooting. Literally fucking Daniel Gibson numbers. Jordan Poole put up Daniel Gibson numbers this past postseason. I think I actually made that comparison once before, and Daniel Gibson was better than Jordan Poole. There was one year in the playoffs, I think, where Daniel Gibson was actually better than Jordan Poole was this past season, but the 24-year-old should have a bounce back season now that he's separated from the Draymond Kareem punch and all the questions that came with it. There is a lot of potential for the Jordan Poole show in Washington, DC. I would not be surprised to once again see Jordan Poole be a top 50 player in the league. He really does have that talent, especially as a scorer, as a shooter. If he can improve as a playmaker as well, maybe not average 25, but if he averaged like 23 and 6, definite top 50 player. CJ McCollum, 21 points, down 31 spots from last season. We have to read the blurb on this one. One of only 4 players, along with LeBron, Harden, and DeRozan, to average at least 20 or more for the last 8 seasons. CJ McCollum's ability to get buckets isn't going anywhere anytime soon now at age 31, a high IQ veteran who's been asked, like, okay, how CJ McCollum, great scorer. I think he is appropriately ranked right here. CJ McCollum he's a top 75, top 70 player in the NBA. Horrible fucking defender, though. A bit undersized for his position as well. Is he this much better than Nikola Vucevic? I kind of see Nikola Vucevic as like the front court version of CJ McCollum. He just excels everywhere on offense for his position and is a piss-ass defender. How is CJ McCollum this far ahead of Nikola Vucevic? I don't think I'm going to be able to shake this Nikola Vucevic ranking until we get into the top 50. Marcus Smart and Michael Porter Jr. tied. Marcus Smart is down 19 spots from last year. Wildly inefficient scoring has been an issue for the bulk of Marcus Smart's career, but he's a solid playmaker who gets up enough threes to at least force the defense to pay attention to him outside. What has always driven his value most, though, is his relentless point of attack defense that should travel to the Grizzlies. I don't understand how this is How is Marcus Smart, again, literally the same player year over year, being dropped so drastically in these rankings? Like 20 spots from a guy who is all defensive caliber still, who is among the better facilitators in the league, not like an all world facilitator, but much improved. And he's tied with Michael Porter Jr., who is one dimensional. Like, no disrespect to Michael Porter Jr., I think that MPJ is ranked appropriately here because he is a lights out shooter. Despite the fact that he is Michael doesn't pass the rock Porter Jr., he has earned being in the top 70, especially contributing to Denver's championship run. But do I think that I think that Marcus Smart is better. I think that Marcus Smart contributes more to a winning team than Michael Porter Jr. does because Smart is arguably the best defensive guard in the league, is again a much improved playmaker, and can hit a timely three every now and then. MPJ is good on the boards. Yes, a fantastic catch and shoot guy, but is kind of one dimensional as far as his offense is concerned. He doesn't give you anything on defense. Cam Johnson ranked way ahead of Nic Claxton, and I think this is the benefit of having a larger role with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, averaged 15 and a half points last year, shot 40% from three, could have the potential to be an 18, 19, 20 point per game guy with the Brooklyn Nets. They mentioned an impact on winning earlier in this article. Cam is going to have an immense impact on the Brooklyn Nets this upcoming season. Desmond Bane at 61. I feel like this might be a little bit of an underrating here. 22 points per game, 41% from three. Showed the ability to be the Grizzlies' number one last year. Full disclosure, I had Desmond Bane about 20 spots higher than his final spot in our top 100. Not many players averaged 20 points, 4 assists, and shot over 40% from three and play above average defense. Yeah, I think Desmond Bane is easily a top 50 guy. The fucking bro, look at this. Look at this picture. This is foul. Julius Randle, outside of the top 50, bro. Last year, All NBA means that Julius Randle is one of the best 15 players in the league. To see him ranked 55, I think, is probably the worst ranking that's going to be on this list. There is definitely some anti-Julius bias here, and there's nothing in this blurb that mentions why he was ranked so poorly. He made his second All-Star and All-NBA team in the last 3 seasons, rebounding from a down year, helping the Knicks make the playoffs. One of just 3 guys to average 25, 10, and 4. The 28-year-old impacts the game in a number of areas, but falls in love with the 3-ball too often. Brother, he shoots 34% on 8 attempts. This is not the worst shot choice we've ever seen. This is actually punishable by time in the federal penitentiary for putting Julius Randle outside of the top 50 when he is I think that Julius Randle is a top 30 player in the league. I really don't think that's much of a hot take. You could also argue top 25 because he made the All-NBA team partly on merit, partly because, there were a bunch of guys who didn't qualify because of injuries, but still Julius Randle at the top 55 is Julius Randle at 55 is like fucking insane, bro. Julius Randle, they ranked Julius Randle worse than, oh. What have I gotten myself into? Julius Randle is ranked behind DeAndre Ayton. Bro, how? DeAndre Ayton is a worse offensive player and is an average defender at best. Okay, I'll give you above average. How is he ranked one spot ahead of Julius Randle? Oh, man, Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes. This is, okay, we're getting fucking weird now. Scotty Barnes. Franz Wagner is ranked, bro. Franz Wagner. I think that Franz Wagner is going to have a fantastic career as an NBA player, but to put him above Julius Randle is fucking insane. Pretty much, dude, I think that every player that's ranked above Julius Randle until we get to the top 30 is just insane. Tyrese Maxey, Chris Middleton, Draymond Green, LaMelo Ball, who only played in 36 games. I'd give you this. I'd give LaMelo. I apologize, LaMelo. I forgot about your game. 23 points, 6.5 boards, 8.5 assists. I'll give you LaMelo Ball over Julius Randle. But again, the only reason that Melo is ranked 48th is because of injuries. He played 36 games. He is also a dog shit defender, but that doesn't really fucking matter. Like, he dropped 16 spots. He was the top 30 guy. Like, he was 32nd. Jalen Brunson, 36. Makes sense. I would actually argue that Jalen Brunson is a top 30 guy, arguably even a top 25 guy. Is just like, again, giving you about 25 and 6, shooting 50% from the field, almost more than 40% from three. These are top 30, top 25 numbers. Domantas Sabonis, top 30 as well, was an all NBA caliber center last year. I mean, again, part of that is because of how shallow the center position is, but it has to count for something. So Domantas Sabonis, 35 is decent. Trae Young, top 30 from 12 to 30. Trae Young is not the 30th best player in the NBA. He's at worst the 20th best player in the NBA, probably. And it's because he's one of the most dynamic offensive players on the planet. Really, the only thing working against him is his inefficiency because, again, when you have a player who can drop 25 and 10 almost nightly, it doesn't matter what the fuck they're giving you on defense because as the author mentions, Zion is top 15 if he ever gets healthy. If he can ever play more than 70 games in a season, easy top 15, especially if he's going to continue to shoot 37% from the field. Mikal Bridges and Kyrie Irving, right hand on the Bible. I love Mikal Bridges. There is no fucking way that Trae Young should be ranked below Mikal Bridges. I understand why Mikal Bridges is ranked this high. He is probably going to be an all-star next season for Brooklyn. Could legitimately average 25 on 40% shooting from three, coupled with the fact that he is an elite wing defender. However, Kyrie Irving is undeniably a top 20 player in this league. And all of the limitations that surround Trae Young defensively also surround Kyrie Irving. The only edge that Kai has on offense over Trae is that he is arguably a craftier scorer, but most importantly, he is a more efficient scorer. I don't think Mikal Bridges is top 25. Kyrie Irving, however, I do think is top 25. And again, this is nothing but love for Mikal Bridges. I think that this is just a little bit this is just a little bit too high of a ranking for him. I think that really when you get into the top 25 and the top 20, the more well-rounded a player is, the higher they're going to be ranked. And the reality is that Mikal Bridges is just not a versatile enough forward to justify being ranked inside of the top 25. I am, however, I am thrilled that, people think this highly of him. The bigger question is, how good could an NBA team be with Bridges as their top scorer? I feel that is a valid question. I think that Mikal Bridges is, a very talented player, but is he he's not leading anyone to a championship. I don't think he can be the number one guy on a championship team. And that's kind of what you're looking for in this. And for that same reason, like, Trae Young, I think, has a better chance of being the number one on a championship team than Mikal Bridges. Like, I think better than Kyrie Irving. Actually, just again, because of how dynamic Trae Young is. James Harden, 22. When Jim Harden is healthy, top 20 player in the league, 21 and 11 last season. I think this might be a little optimistic now. Well, again, might be a little optimistic considering what we know now about his deteriorating relationship with Philly, but fuck it. Getting rid of that, I think this is a fair ranking for Harden. Jamal Morant at 21 could be a little low. However, with everything that's gone on with him over the last year or so, and also with the fact that he's going to be missing the first 25 games of the season, this, I think, is fair. If everything were going normally, or I don't want to say normally, if everything were, if he didn't have these hiccups throughout the offseason, fair to say he's top 12. I mean, again, 26 and 8 on 46% shooting from three from a dude who is 6'2" and like 130 pounds. Undeniably one of the top 5 best point guards. Jamal Murray. I can't. When I was prepping for this video, I was so excited to get to the Jamal Murray section because do you rank Jamal Murray on his regular season, or do you rank him on his postseason? Because postseason Jamal Murray is top 15. Easy, top 12, I would say. Regular season Jamal Murray is top 20. I think that we will not see playoff Jamal Murray until the Nuggets need it. I think he understands that this role that he's been occupying, 20 points, 6 boards, 45% from the field, 40% from three, that is the role that he needs to operate for the Nuggets throughout the regular season. And then when the postseason comes, when the games get harder, when you need the ball in the hands of your star players more, that's when he's going to pop off and start averaging 25, 26, 27. Regardless, I'm putting Jamal Murray top 15 easily. I think 16 is relatively appropriate. I think a little bit underrated, but he's somewhere between 16 and 12. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I'm surprised to see him out of the top 10. Truly, I think that Shai is a top 10 player in the NBA. This guy was 5th in MVP voting last year, guys. I mean, granted, Donovan Mitchell was 4th, I think, or somewhere in the top 10 and was ranked at 20th, but I think that SGA is top 10. 31 points, 5 rebounds, decent defense, could stand to improve his efficiency, but, there have been instances where he shot much better from 3. Top 10, Anthony Davis. When Anthony Davis is fully healthy and performing at 100%, he might be a top 5 player in the league. At peak Anthony Davis, I mean, even this last year, and I wouldn't even consider last year peak Anthony Davis, 26 and 12.5 boards with like 2 blocks per game, 2.5 blocks per game, something like that. This guy is just a wrecking ball. He gives opposing teams fits. The only actual negative against him is his health. I don't even want to count perimeter shooting because he doesn't they mentioned Julius Randle being a little happy with the 3 ball. I wouldn't even consider that a negative for Anthony Davis because he understands that, he's not a perimeter guy. Top 10, Anthony Davis being the 10th player on this list, I think that's fine. Number 9 being Devin Booker. I also think this is fine. You could even, I don't even want to say you can make the case to put Booker higher because the remaining guys on this list are Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, Tatum, Luka, LeBron, KD. I can't remember who the 8th guy is. I'm not putting Devin Booker above any of those guys I just named. All those guys are, probably the 7 best players in the NBA. I can't fucking believe I'm missing. Who am I missing? They're going to come up as number 8, and I'm going to look like a fucking dumbass. KD at number 8. This is a take. 20. Dude, look at these fucking numbers, man. Again, the only negative against KD is his health. I'm putting KD not actually. You know what? Let's finish the list and then I'll redo it. Kevin Durant at 8, LeBron James at 7, Steph. That was who the fuck I forgot. Steph at 6. I can't believe I forgot Steph. Steph at 6, I think is fair. Jason Tatum at 5. I actually think I'm putting Steph ahead of Jason Tatum, even though I think Tatum is a fantastic talent. I think that Steph is top 5 right now. LeBron would also be higher than Jason Tatum, but again, health. KD being as low as he is, health. Jason Tatum has improved tremendously as a defender, as a passer, is healthy pretty much all the time, averaged 30 a night last year with 9 rebounds. I think that it's fair to have him top 5. I don't have any issues with that. Joel Embiid 4, Luka Doncic 3, Giannis 2, and of course Nikola Jokic at number 1. This top 10 is not bad. This is actually a very good top 10, I feel like. This is, the only thing, I said Shai was top 10 before. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I changed my mind. I think I shot my load a little bit too early. Nah, I lied. Shai at 11 is actually the perfect spot for him. I thought that the top 3 was going to be Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. I'm actually pleasantly surprised to see Luka ahead of Joel. I think this makes sense. Even though Joel is the reigning MVP, Luka is undeniably the best guard in the league. Just is doing things that nobody has done before. This top 3 I think is fine. Top 4, having 4 guys born internationally is fucking so great for the NBA. So all things considered, what are my takeaways from this list? Top 10, solid. Julius Randle, ranked at 55, criminal behavior. Nikola Jokic, obviously ranked number 1. Mikal Bridges, ranked a little bit too high for my liking. Nic Claxton, ranked a little bit too low for my liking. But overall, um, it like not bad, not a bad list, but the misses missed so far. The rating of Julius Randle is like if you were trying to fly a plane into Miami and you landed in Houston. How are you that far off? How do you put Julius Randle at 55 and Trae Young 30? And then how does Mikal Bridges wind up at 25? Because I think that Randle and Bridges are much closer to each other than people think, mainly because Randle is a lot better than this list would indicate, and Bridges is a little bit worse than this would indicate. But overall, not the worst top 100 list I've ever seen. But again, the misses just missed so badly. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Thank you guys so very much for coming to hang out with me today. As always, everything I'm associated with is down in the description box below. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment as well. It really helps out with the algorithm. And with that, I'll catch y'all in the next one.